Alright, so for when you guys tune in, we are working on this guy right here. So this is the final boss, if you will, from Bardsung, big collection that I was working on. I haven't done a ton with him yet. All I've done the base primer and, as you can see, some airbrush work. So we've got the yellows and oranges going in for the flame and ember kind of effect. We've got some browns, reds, and then black on the main body of him here. Now, the thing with this guy, if you want to keep all the storage for the game in the box, which is my intention, I don't want to have these minis out all the time, you have to be able to take the wings off, okay? So we're going to have to keep that in mind while we're painting, which is a little bit of a pain, but it is what it is. So, we're going to go from there. And Miner is already tuned in. Hey, bud. How's it going? It's been a wonderfully horrible week, so that's why we're just drinking coffee and painting giant demon boys. How have you been, bud? Oh, sweet, man. I'm sitting at 72 for the spicy sadness, so it definitely helps. It absolutely does. It took me a while to kind of accept that was okay. But I was talking to some friends, and the way they put it is you get compensated for physical things because you need to do things or avoid things in life so that you can have an ease of living with physical issues. So when it comes with mental issues, so yeah, you have that surplus income, so maybe you can take some time off work or afford to go and do things that, you know, keep, again, the spicy sadness at bay. So that's good. That's good to hear. Have you started your other therapy you were talking about last time, the electro stuff? Yeah. Well, hopefully it works out for you. I hope it's effective and it's what you need and what you're looking for. Only a little bit, not nearly as much anymore, but it just makes it less serious whenever you're talking about it, so people actually talk about it. It's a little difficult to do when you work at a national cemetery. Oh, and a follow-up from the last live stream, I have been playing Vampire Survivors, and shame on y'all for giving me something that's so easily addictive. I mean, it's a lot of fun though. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I was looking for a different brown than I thought I had, but apparently I'm either remembering incorrectly or it's kind of run off. Purple gray maroon too. All right. I think one of the first things I'm going to work on here is going to be getting the tonality of the wings here matching skin tone. So the reason I went with the purple is because it ends up having a shade tone and then also red tone, so it kind of blends with the reds, oranges, and yellows in there that you're doing for that ember effect. So if we go over, once we go over with the brown, it'll kind of pull it all together so it'll kind of match in there. What caused my week to be so cringe? Well, work was short-staffed, and at the turn of the month, I have to do totals. So I handle the totals for graveside accountability, as well as working hours, everything like that. So just making sure all that's square while you're already short-staffed makes it a little difficult, just because you're also checking in families, answering the phone, all that jazz. Also got dental work done, so I got to pay $1,100 to sit in a dental chair for an hour and a half, which is always enjoyable. My sister is finally old enough to learn how to start driving, so that's also happening, which is just a wonderful time. So, no, it's just been an exceptionally busy week, so the weekend's going to be spent doing whatever I want, because it's just kind of how it went. All you can do is make it work anymore. There's not too many other choices. And you know my perfectionist tendencies. I gotta be perfect. If I can't make it work, then nobody can make it work. Oh, that's the other thing I wanted to touch on. Music for a live stream. I had considered having, you know, royalty-free stuff on in the background, but I figured if people are either, you know, tuning in while they're gaming or doing their own painting, they might either A, already have something else on, you know, and this is just kind of extraneous noise, so it feels like there's someone else in the room, so I didn't really want to go in along with it. And B, the music I listen to while I'm painting isn't what I listen to, or I'm sorry, the music that I put with my videos. Even though I do like the music I put with my videos, I'm very much a thematic kind of person, so whatever I'm painting, I try to listen to something that kind of fits that. I did make a quick playlist this morning on the channel for things that I usually listen to whenever I'm doing either monster paints or, you know, something a little bit Ravenloft thematic. So if anybody does wonder what I listen to while I'm painting, you can check those out. When it comes for PCs or personal NPCs, I usually listen to whatever I had on while I was actually creating said character, just to make sure it still all kind of meshes. And all of that is copyrighted, so there's no way we could put any of that on. As you can see, doing that as a glaze, you can still see the purple through it, but it gets it closer to the tonality of the rest of the skin, so it works out. Maybe a little bit if we get a couple more people on, I'll show what we're going to be painting up for this week. It was another Etsy purchase, custom print, of course. Well, not custom, obviously. They print them out, but not a generic WizKids paint. And I'm sure we'll paint some more of the Bardsung figures, but just a little bit of a wall with those. So that's, I didn't even mess around with the mixer liner. I literally have, so I'm streaming through my phone. I have my secondary YouTube account watching the stream so I can read the chat versus having to look like behind the phone so it's not sitting in front of me here. And then I have my YouTube music account on a different tab with the music up for that, but the volume for the stream off. That's the only way I could make it work, unless I, you know, like you said, go through and get a little bit more of a mixer system, and it's just, well, with 300 something subscribers, it's not there yet. Once I actually make a, you know, $5 a month or something, maybe we can consider it. Yeah, I'm gonna look at some of the setups people have, especially when it's, you know, gaming streaming. It's obscene. I mean, and just the demand on your computer too. I won't go grammatical on you. It's all good. If you throw out the wrong Tagalog, then I'll pull a Ginoong Volado and mess with you, but otherwise you're fine. Do you still play League, Minor? Is that still as popular as it was like a decade ago? Is he? Eh, it's no surprise. I haven't talked to him in forever. I've never gotten too into WoW. I thought about trying it, but then I also thought, you know, I don't need another thing to add to the list. Unfortunately, Genshin was probably my free-to-play addiction there for a long time. Did he ever get his engineering degree? Did he go into that? Wasn't that what he was doing? Okay. And you were going for social work, right? See, I listen to you guys. Oh, that's cool. I mean, I guess that's cool. I also feel like that might be a little stressful, but. Well, we've known you're not a good student. That's okay. To be fair, I wasn't that great either, and then I don't know what happened. I still didn't, even mortuary school, I hardly studied that much. I sat down, reread stuff, and then just went in and took a test. I think I was good at memorizing. That's looking pretty good. That's looking really good. I got a whole nother one to do. Minimum effort. Dude, the fact that I still apply max relax to things outside of the PFT for the Marine Corps kills me. So what's it like over there in Delaware? Anything thrilling and exciting? I know you guys have Dover, but oh, that would be good. Because that's also good because you can kind of see if it is what you're expecting, and you know, if there is a specialized thing in there, it should, like, you can see what kind of sector of it you might want to go into. That'll be good. I hope it works out for you. If you ever want to get into the funeral industry, just hit me up. I got all the links. Any cons or anything? You went to one or two of the conventions in Hawaii, didn't you? I thought you did. Maybe I'm wrong. Yeah, I thought about getting back into some form of martial art. I was actually looking at judo. Just throw people around. Yeah, I went to one last year. I ended up going to PAX Unplugged in Philly, and then had like an entire breakdown just trying to get there because they had people giving different instructions on how to actually get into the convention. So it was just giant throngs of people on city streets, which is apparently one of my horrific triggers after everything. Yeah, that was, I felt super embarrassed in front of one of my husband's friends because he went along with us, but he seemed understanding enough, so I'm probably sweated more than I should. Yeah, nightmare fuel. Absolutely, dude. Like, luckily, my husband is very understanding if things end up becoming difficult when they really aren't for normal people. But yeah, combat. See, I was thinking judo just because it's at least stand up. Because once ever I hit the floor, I mean, I'm awful at ground fighting. Like, tolerant, but yeah, I'm tolerant to a point, and it definitely depends where the crowd is. Like, if it's an environment where you like, so like a concert, I have no problem going to metal concerts and being right on the rail, like, because I know what everybody's there for. I know what the security, like, I know all that. When it's throngs of people in an uncontrolled environment, like, city street fair or something like that, yeah, I'm not great. Huh. Hey man, everybody's different. It's how stuff manifests. Yeah. Yeah. Snack break on the outside aisles. And it's like my problem is I just get like snap angry. Especially like if I'm at a convention and someone like has like a pull behind cart or like obscene cosplay where you're not in the cosplay like competition section area, you're in the expo halls and you're just getting in everybody's like I just want to not be a very nice person. I don't give a lot of grace in those scenarios. Oh, I remember. Don't worry. I think there were one or two times at DLI when it was like Command being a shit show, but once it was like in the fleet, I don't think you were ever that bad. Which, speaking of DLI, totally random memory the other day. Do you know whatever happened to Bentley? Wasn't he like going into fashion or something like that? Yeah, I think about him sometimes. It's never good when you get outed like that. Oh, we have one more viewer. Hello, hello. We're just doing some wing glazing. Dear Lord, I can't talk. Feel free to interrupt me and his conversation. There's no shame in that. It's okay. Oh, how's the Warhammer game that you've been playing? I saw you log in some time on Steam with that. I thought about messing around with it. Oh, yeah. Yeah, everything's getting a DLC recently. I'll drop him. $200. Yeah, maybe maybe we'll wait until there's a sale or something. It's a bit much. I mean, $200, that's halfway to a Tarask mini. So, I mean, gotta make a wise investment on that. Alright, so like I said at the start, I have to be able to remove these wings in order to store the mini in with the game. So I'm going to do touch-up so he at least blends in. But I need to keep that in mind so I don't put too much paint on our creases here, because I don't want to have a difficult time with that. Alright, that's pretty freaking cool. Alright, so I kind of want to do something easy next, just mindless. So I'm thinking I'm probably going to do either the horns or some of the metal accessories. That's what I'll probably do. I'll probably do the torch flame. So probably do this flame here, and then get some of the metal bits done. And then we can go and work on everything else. Oh, so it's not even like an evolution. Each game has different factions. Okay. Actually, let me get that speed paint for the same color quick. I know I keep narrating and it's only you watching now, but it's for anybody that would want to watch in the future if people actually do that. I don't even know if people do that. But one thing I do appreciate about the Army Painter paints, even though I'm not huge on them, is if you get the starter sets, they're generally the same colors. So I have the starter set for the airbrush and the new Fanatic ones just came out, and they're the same, so I at least know with their color matching system that the red and yellow that I used in the airbrush for the wings and the fire is going to be the same that I used to hand paint the torch down there. So little things that are helpful. Well, maybe I'll look into getting it after we get a house then. Once I know it's okay to have a little bit more disposable income to burn on things. And finish vampires. That won't take me too long though. I'm pretty close. I mean, for full completion, if I want to use every single character for every level and to beat it, yeah, but actual level completion and unlocking everything, I'm starting to get there. Alright, so for right now, We're going to take the wings off this guy. Yeah, I didn't get the DLCs for it yet. I saw they had a couple. I think they're still on sale. I'm debating grabbing them. I might, because they're not even that much, you know, for content. Right? This is the only thing I don't like about massive prints is I can't get the brush. I mean, unless I go through the arm. Now, I understand that if I can't get to it to paint it, people aren't readily going to be seeing it all the time, but I will know that that tiny spot is not painted, and that's what'll bother me. I don't care what other people think about my paints, which is how it should be, unless you're trying to sell them or you are a professional artist. Just paint to paint, dude. Don't worry about what other people are going to think or say about it. I mean, obviously, if you're trying to do right by your friends while you're playing or something, and you know, you make them a custom mini for their PC, like, yeah, you probably should care. But like I was talking about last time, the one guy, if you do everything exactly as they ask and then they're, you know, crap about it, screw them. It's not worth the energy. Should we get that orange on there a little bit wetter so that we can get some yellow on our brush and blend it. I recently saw and have been playing around it's a technique, and of course I can't remember what it's called now that I'm telling you about it. You dip your brush in one color and then dip it in the secondary so that when you apply it to the figure, it gives a transition effect from one to the other. Once the second color that you dipped it in runs out, it goes to the first color. That's pretty cool. I'm still trying to figure that out. I've only used it on one or two that I've been working on, but I really like it as a concept. I just have to figure out how to do it appropriately. I've also been trying to remind people, a couple people watching some of my old videos, like for some reason the truth about miniature painting is still popular. I really don't know how that one blew up as much as it did. Commenting on, well, if you did this and this and this, it would look different. It's like, yes, but that's not the message of the video. The message of the video is, yeah, you're going to have paints that don't look great, and eventually you're going to learn to do what you want to do. So don't be hard on yourself. And again, I always say you can give constructive insight and not be a jerk about it. But also remember, if somebody's first starting out and all you're doing is giving them, even if they are constructive tips and not necessarily demeaning or anything like that, a lot of newbies, that's all they're going to hear is you downplaying or down talking what they're doing. So I try to keep in mind that positivity, because if there's one thing I can't stand, especially when people do it to newer individuals at any craft, anything you're doing, not necessarily just painting, is a freaking compliment sandwich. Oh, this looks great. You should maybe try doing this and this and this, but no, but this part looks great. Like, no, that's not, that doesn't help. It doesn't help at all. It's like, because for most people, they know what looks like trash. They know what doesn't look good. They know what they don't like. So you don't need to remind them. The difference is if they go and they're like, hey, this is something recent that I did. I don't like this. How do you suggest I could make it better? Free reign. Obviously be courteous, but free reign to suggest how they can do that. And you can be like, then if you pull out the, well, I think this part of it looks good, but this part could use this technique or effort or yada yada. That's when a compliment sandwich ends up being at least somewhat usable. But when it's not asked for or not inquired about, like, leave the people be. I was dabbling in stained glass for a little while. No, you didn't miss anything. I'm just on a rant about people not being great all the time. When I was starting out in stained glass, someone would post like their first or second piece, and there'd be comments in the group about, well, your beading on the solder doesn't look worse, or doesn't look good, or this could be done better. And it's like, it's literally their first piece, and stained glass for most people is not an intuitive art. It's not like you're sitting around as a child playing with an iron and lead beading, like pencil, paper, and things like that. Yeah, you're gonna probably mess around with that. Everybody doodles in their school books, right? But I don't know. It just definitely seems like there's a lot of, I don't want to say gatekeeping necessarily, but problematic people in different hobbies that make it difficult for individuals to get into it. Which is why if I ever do get big or popular, or to the point that this is my profession, like, I'm going to be damned if I don't remember, like, everybody, like, the Bob Ross vibe. I know I joke about it, but just sit down, paint, enjoy yourself, and that's it. Well, that's true. To quote Marcellus Wallace. Actually, no, I shouldn't quote Marcellus Wallace on my YouTube. Alright, now I could go in and do the rest of that fire underneath and make it match, but just because of how much that is, I think I'm going to go back. Well, no, all the paint's wet. Yeah, let's mess with it. Alright. And I'm on a different brush. I'm on a detail brush. So you guys can see, I airbrushed that interior. And obviously there's some nooks and crannies that didn't get caught, and there's some definitive lining here that isn't accentuated. And that's fine. I was just trying to get that base coloring down with the airbrush so I have something to work on top of versus having to fill all of the gray in. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to go in with some yellows and oranges and reds and maybe some purples and spruce this up a bit. I think the other thing, especially with the miniature painting hobby, is primarily, and correct me if I'm wrong, everyone's self-taught. I mean, there are books and there are professionals and there's Patreons out there that you can subscribe to, and but when you sit down with it, the first thing you do is you just paint. You get a couple of paints, you get some figures you like, and you just go from there. So you can't be that hard on beginners because A, they're figuring out if they even want to get into it. So why would they pay for all of these lessons and yada yada? And B, they're learning themselves. So if they got into D&D or a tabletop and decided to paint minis, maybe they didn't like painting or art when they were in school, or maybe they didn't have electives like that when they were in school, so it might be their first time picking up a brush. And if that's the case, and your first time picking up a brush is painting something that is the size of a quarter, it's not going to be easy. So you always got to give them, I gotta give people credit for trying. You know, there's no shame in just trying. Don't look hard at anyone trying to bring you down, and don't read into any comments people make online. Yeah. Well, and there's especially folks that hyper fixate on what they know. And that's what I kind of want to revisit too with miniatures. So you think of any other kind of painting or art, character design, scenery, you have your own style. You have something that is stylistically yours, which isn't necessarily what other people are going to like. I mean, you guys already know I like putting glitter on minis. I hate glitter on anything else. I am not very feminine or effeminate when it comes to styling or anything. I like my minis to be shiny and sparkly though. I don't know why, I just do. Breaking the habit of using a gloss finish on everything was a little difficult, but it eventually won me over. But you're going to have something that's your style, like me. I want to get better at drawing with pencil because everything I draw looks absolutely cartoony, but it's also just kind of how I do things. So if somebody is learning how to paint and they create their own miniature painting style, that's what it is. It's stylistically theirs. So somebody is not, like jiggly keys deep down. Yes, we do. It might not necessarily agree with somebody else's stylization for painting their miniatures. And that's where you get into the, oh, well, that's not the proper technique. You should do this in this order first. Or that. Just let people paint that. If they think it looks cool and badass and they put it on the table and their players love it, what does it matter? It's not yours. It's not on your table. It's not something you have to play with. They're not trying to force it on you as a sale. It's not. It's just their mini. So if they're all proud and you're in a group on Facebook or Instagram, I know I said Facebook, apparently that makes me old. If you're on a group and someone's real proud of it and hey, they like how it looks, no need to tear them down. No need to be like, well, this could have been done better or that. If they're happy, they put it up, like, go and appreciate it. Okay, yes, but you should color all in one direction. Let's be honest. Come on. If you're doing a coloring page, it has to be in one direction. But I think that's just organizational disorder talking. I have grown up since then, Minor. I've had years to get better about criticisms. I've grown as a person. Something like that. I don't know. You didn't apply the proper technique for cross-hatching your coloring project, Minor. I don't even remember what that was for. Was that in one of Chip's classes or was that at DLI, man? I can't believe I've forgotten so much of that. What do you mean what is cross-hatching? So you have lines. Okay. So if you have a paper, right? You have lines going in this direction that give you one effect, right? So if they're going in this direction and you get a couple going this direction, it's going to add depth because it's going to get darker and it also textures it. So that's cross-hatching versus just kind of going all over the place. Again, I was a really good art nerd. I just sucked at drawing. I understood the fundamentals of it. All my friends were the art-based folks. I was definitely more of the word-based person. I continually want to make a comic, but every time I try, I think I'm just going to make it a little novelization because it's just not worth me trying to draw. It's bad. I know my words. My words are good. Yeah, you and your shakes, man. Yeah. So I'm looking at this, and it looks like the fire is primarily over here, and these are some veins over here, so you can still see the rock underneath. So I'm going to go over this, but I'm not going to focus too much on those little patches in there, because I think I'm going to end up going over those with like brown or black or gray or something like that. So at least that's how I feel it's looking. So but my goal here with fire, especially supernatural fire, and now that I'm thinking about this, this guy would have been awesome with like the blue-white fire. Oh. I'm just gonna have to buy a second one. So I don't do the standard, I did in the torch because it's like a brazier, it's holding it. I'm doing something like magical fire, like the bottom here, at least that's how I'm interpreting it. I try to layer the tones just because I feel like it's more, I don't want to say authentic, that sounds pompous. It just feels right because you're not having a staple source, like specifically that the fire is coming from, like a fuel source. So you wouldn't have the tiered gradient the way you would something like the torch. So I try to get just a patchy effect almost, but not, patchy is not the term I'm looking for. Give me 2 hours, I'll think of the word. Also think I'm going to pull out that maroon here. I thought I put it on the board, maybe I didn't. That's the word, isn't it? Yeah, okay. Just to get some of these a little darker. Just paint a happy little flame friend over here. Oh, if you guys hear anybody in the background, I should have said this before, it's my downstairs neighbors. My husband was actually kind enough to hang out in the living room with the cats so that they're not causing a total ruckus. Because I didn't even think about it, because the last time I live streamed, he was out working a funeral service. So I scheduled it, and I didn't even think about the fact that I'm occupying the study so he can't play his games at the same time. So big thanks to him for being a team player. I know I kid, but he's super supportive and it's great. It's good being in a nerd couple where everybody understands each other. Oof, that was a lot of yellow. That's alright, we'll make it work. I'm probably going to keep this one as long as the other one, so maybe like an 11:30, 12 time frame, even though minor, you're the only one watching right now, so, you know, it is what it is. I guess 10 o'clock on a Saturday really isn't a good time. That's when folks are actually out enjoying themselves. Maybe I'll try an evening stream sometime. I don't know. We'll see. Oh, sweet. Dude, I woke up at 3:30 today. I cannot sleep in. I am very much an old lady. I have to be in bed by 8 at night. I cannot stay up that late anymore. I mean, part of it's work, part of it's probably, you know, the weight I put on. Excess weight makes you sleepy, which eventually we'll work on that, but, you know, that's life. Yeah. Luckily, I've never had, well, that's not true. I had a couple issues with sleeping back in the day, but usually once I'm asleep, I'm okay. Only sometimes do I kind of startle awake. I still have the gift of being able to fall asleep anywhere, but when you go from Marine Corps to a funeral service, I mean, you have to wake up at 2 a.m., so your body's just like, well, we're going to bed now, because you gotta wake up whenever. What makes me sleepy? Reading. Which is a shame. I can stay up reading if I'm sitting up, but if I lay down, I'm out in like 2 seconds. Oh, here's a good one that unfortunately works. So the show Dark on Netflix, I've been trying to watch it because my husband and friends absolutely love it, and I would probably enjoy it too, knowing what it's about. The ambiance of it, I'm out in like 5 minutes. I just, yeah. If I read in bed, if I'm not sitting up, I'm out. Doesn't matter what time of day it is. Doesn't matter if I just woke up. Doesn't matter if I just ate and had 6 monsters. If I lay down and I'm holding a book, I'm out in 5 minutes. If I'm sitting up, I'm good. What else? I mean, you can always do mind exercises. That's what I did on deployment. You go and try and, if you look up the idea of a mind palace, you go and try and think through all of that. That used to put me to sleep. That's how I got to sleep on my second deployment, even though it was ridiculous. Hey, it works. That's all I'm saying. Whatever got me to sleep after those shifts. I mean, I welcomed it. Just a little bit too much water there. Did you try just lifting really heavy and see if that knocks you out? Sometimes that works. Just get some kettlebells and just do cleans and presses until you're ready to go to bed. Just keep them next to your bed. Well, to be fair, I don't have a whole bunch of advice, but you are asking somebody that's a professional with dead people, not living people. So there's only so much I can suggest. All right. This is my only issue with painting fire, though. I could sit here and do this for hours and just go back and forth over the same pieces. I mean, it's just the nature of what it is. This is why I wanted to work on the metal. Alright, so I'm probably gonna hop off here pretty soon, mostly because A, minor, you're the only one watching, so thanks for watching in. But B, I also want the other half to be able to use his computer, and I don't want to be hogging the room all day. So maybe I'll put something up a little later, maybe I'll do a short or two, so just showing progress, since YouTube likes to take a whole day to process and upload lives once they're completed. But as I said I would, let me go. God damn it! I knew you would. I knew you would. Let me show you the mini I got that I'm going to be painting next. So we've got the base and a full Strahd figure, which I'm pretty excited about. Let me see if I can get it. Is that in focus? Yeah. There we go. I also really like the cloak on the back. Might need to trim a little bit because there's a couple of excess pieces, but I'm hoping to do him up like a diorama, like I did the other two for the commission, and just have him as a little shelf sitter with all of our Ravenloft books. So I'm pretty excited to paint him. He'll be the next video. But yeah, that's all I got. So yeah, hopefully you enjoyed, the singular person that watched this while it was live. Anybody else that watches later, thanks for watching. Like and comment and subscribe if you want to come back. Take care, guys.